I honestly don't know how to start this. I feel so broken right now. My heart feels like it's been shattered into pieces, and I don't know how to put it back together. I've gone through heartbreak before, sure. I've lost friends, lost jobs, had bad days. But nothing, and I mean nothing, has ever made me feel like this. And that's why I'm here, because I need to get this out of my chest. It all started in the most innocent way. I met her when I was 25, and her name was Rachel. She was smart, kind, effortlessly funny, and when she smiled, the world got quiet. You know that feeling when you meet someone and everything just clicks? That was her. We met through mutual friends at a game night, and we just couldn't stop talking. It was like we had known each other in another life or something cheesy like that, but it felt real. From that night on, we were inseparable. We moved in together after a year, took weekend road trips, decorated our first apartment, talked about the future. I remember laying in bed with her one night and saying, "You know, I think I finally get what people mean when they say they've found their person." She smiled, curled into me, and said, "Me too." Around that same time, I reconnected with my younger brother, Alex. We hadn't been that close growing up, not because we hated each other, but because our parents made it impossible. Alex was the golden child, the favorite. He could do no wrong. I, on the other hand, was the scapegoat. If something broke, I did it. If Alex failed a class, I was told to help him. If I got a B+, they asked why it wasn't an A. You get the idea. Still, I tried. I kept reaching out, even when he didn't. I wanted that brotherly bond you see in movies, the kind where you've got each other's backs no matter what. So when I introduced him to Rachel, I was actually happy that he seemed to like her. He was polite, charming, even a little playful. He made jokes, teased me in front of her, called her way out of my league, and I laughed because I thought that was just him being a brother. I had no idea what was coming. Fast forward 2 years, I proposed. I took her back to the same overlook where we watched the stars on our second date. I had the ring in my pocket for weeks, waiting for the right moment. She cried when I asked, said yes before I could even finish the question. We kissed under the sky, and I thought, this is it. This is the life I was meant to live. We started planning the wedding, not a massive one, just a meaningful one. I asked Alex to be my best man. I remember the way his face twitched, just for a second, when I said it, like he wasn't expecting it, but he nodded, smiled, said, "Of course, bro, wouldn't miss it for the world." The following months were a blur. Cake tastings, venue scouting, registries, all the chaos you'd expect. But something started to feel off. Rachel got distant, not all at once. It was subtle. A missed call here, a late night there. I chalked it up to stress. She said work was piling up, that wedding planning was exhausting, that she just needed space. And I believed her, because I trusted her, because she wasn't the kind of person who would lie. Then there was Alex. He started dropping by more. At first, I was glad. I thought maybe we were finally building that brotherly bond. He'd swing by after work, bring beers, hang out. Sometimes Rachel would be there, sometimes not. But I started noticing how comfortable they were around each other. Not inappropriate, just familiar. Too familiar. Private jokes. Glances that lasted a second too long. I ignored it. I didn't want to see it. There was this one night. We were watching a movie. I dozed off on the couch. When I woke up, they weren't in the living room anymore. I heard muffled voices from the kitchen. I walked in, and they both jumped like teenagers caught sneaking out. Alex mumbled something about grabbing water. Rachel wouldn't meet my eyes. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself I was overthinking it. But deep down, something inside me shifted. Still, the wedding was getting closer. I buried my doubts, focused on the logistics, booked the honeymoon, picked out suits, sent invitations. Then, 2 weeks before the wedding, everything fell apart. Rachel sat me down, her face pale, her hands trembling. And she said the words I will never forget. "I need to tell you something. I'm pregnant." For a moment, I was stunned. And then joy, confusion. Pregnant? We hadn't been trying, but we hadn't been totally careful either. I was about to be a dad. Then her lips quivered, and her voice cracked. "But it's not yours." I swear the entire world stopped moving. My ears were ringing. My chest tightened. I couldn't speak. And then she said the second thing I'll never forget. "It's Alex's." I don't remember what happened next. I don't remember if I yelled, cried, or just sat there in silence. I only remember feeling like my entire life, everything I had built, everything I had dreamed of, had just been wiped out. I left that night. I didn't pack. I didn't think. I just walked out. Over the next few days, I tried to piece it all together. How long had it been going on? When did it start? The more I thought, the more it all made sense. The glances, the late nights, the awkward energy, the secrets. I'd been blind. No, I'd chosen to be blind. Because it was easier than facing the truth. I confronted Alex. He didn't even try to deny it, just shrugged and said, It wasn't supposed to happen. We didn't mean to hurt you." She cried, sat across from me with her hands shaking, asking me to understand, to talk, to listen, but there was nothing left to say. What do you say to someone who wrecked your life and then asked you to be gentle with the pieces? She told me she didn't mean to fall for him, that it just happened. I stood there frozen, watching her try to justify the months she spent living two lives, sleeping next to me, kissing me, helping choose our wedding cake, while meeting up with my brother behind my back. She wanted me to forgive her, to move past it, because it's not just about us anymore, she whispered, glancing at her stomach. The manipulation hit harder than the betrayal. I walked out and didn't come back that night. Slept in my car. Couldn't even bring myself to call a friend. The shame was louder than the engine running in the background. The next morning, I went to my parents' house. Not because I wanted comfort, but because I needed to hear them say something, to acknowledge it, to tell me I didn't deserve this. Instead, they offered me tea. Tea? Seriously? As if this was some casual family dispute and not the emotional equivalent of being hit by a truck. When I finally got the words out, told them what Rachel and Alex had done, my mom stared at me like I had just confessed something terrible. Her first words were, "You have to forgive them eventually. She's carrying your niece or nephew." That was the moment I realized I was alone. My father didn't say much, just shook his head slowly and mumbled something about keeping the family together. Alex didn't even deny it. He said that with a straight face. It's real now. Like the truth should earn him credit. They wanted me to be the bigger person, the mature one, the understanding one. But no one was asking them to take responsibility, to apologize, to even look ashamed. Instead, they acted like I was the one making things difficult. Rachel moved back in with her parents. Alex stayed in the city. Eventually, I stopped answering calls, stopped responding to texts, even from friends, because half of them were still following Rachel on social media, commenting things like, "Congrats," under her baby posts. I didn't eat much, didn't sleep much, just worked any thought. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal. It was realizing how quickly everyone could move on while I was still standing in the rubble. That's when I started packing. Didn't tell anyone. Just found a place 2 hours away. Signed a lease. Boxed up the life I thought I had built, one drawer at a time. On the last night in my apartment, I found the wedding vows I had written, folded them up, took them outside, and burned them. Perfect. Here's part 5. Aftershocks, continuing directly from where we left off. After the move, after the silence, after everything burned. Starting over sounds cleaner than it is. People imagine a fresh apartment in a new town, new furniture, a quiet routine. Maybe some kind of spiritual rebirth. In reality, it felt like moving the mess to a different zip code. The boxes were lighter than what stayed stuck in my chest. The new place was small, one bedroom. No photos on the walls, just space to exist. No memories carved into the corners. No shared history woven into the furniture. Just quiet. And for a while, that was enough. Work became my distraction. Wake up, commute, log hours, answer emails, go home, repeat. Didn't speak much to coworkers. Avoided eye contact in meetings. Kept my earbuds in even when nothing played, just so no one would talk to me. It worked for a bit. The noise in my head dimmed, but then the silence crept in. Memories don't care where you move. They pack themselves. Right along. Unpack themselves when you're too tired to fight them off. Some nights, I'd wake up thinking she was beside me. Reach for a person who no longer existed. Other nights, I'd hear his voice, not in words, but in tone. That still made my blood boil. I avoided family entirely. Changed my number. Blocked every one of them. Even the cousins. Even the ones who stayed neutral. Neutral is just passive betrayal dressed up in silence. But the past has a way of finding cracks. It started with a letter. No return address. Just a white envelope left outside my door. Inside, a sonogram photo. One sentence written underneath in shaky handwriting. "You're still family. Please don't miss this." No signature, but it didn't need one. Tore it in half, then again, then again. But the pieces didn't disappear. They clung to me. Then came the messages from mutual friends. People I hadn't talked to in months. "Have you thought about reaching out? Rachel's asking about you. Alex says he wants to fix things." Fix. As if there were a button to rewind betrayal. As if showing up now with tears or apologies could undo the months of lies. The nights of silence. The emotional weight that turned me into a shell. One message came from someone I trusted once. Said Rachel was struggling. Said the pregnancy was hard. Said she didn't have anyone left. Part of me wanted to care. That part, the old version of me, still existed somewhere. The one who believed in forgiveness. In second chances. In empathy, even when it hurt. But that version died the day they decided their connection mattered more than my heart. Still, That guilt stuck to my ribs. That's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't just hurt, it reshapes you, twists your instincts, makes you question your reactions. Should I care? Should I answer? Should I forgive? But each time those questions came, one image returned. Rachel, standing in the kitchen, saying it so quietly. It's Alex's. That was all the answer I needed. So I didn't reply. Not to her. Not to anyone. Not even to the ones who meant well. Weeks turned to months. Slowly, the nightmares faded. The tension in my jaw started to loosen. The idea of trusting people again didn't feel laughable, just distant. Therapy helped. A little. Talking felt strange at first, like peeling off old bandages from wounds you've trained yourself to ignore. But over time, naming things took away their power. Grief wasn't just about what happened. It was about what would never happen. There wouldn't be a wedding. No honeymoon. No shared last name. No future daughter with her smile. No holidays where we exchanged glances across the table, knowing what it took to get there. All of that died, quietly, invisibly, but permanently. And that loss deserved mourning. So that's what I did. Mourn the version of me that believed love was simple, that thought family would protect me. They're gone now. What's left? Someone quieter, more observant, not bitter, just awake. Somewhere around the third month after the move, the rage started to settle. It didn't disappear, just dulled at the edges. What replaced it wasn't peace, not yet, but clarity. Enough distance to start asking bigger questions. Now, why did they do it? That question never leads anywhere. People betray for 1,000 selfish reasons. Loneliness, ego, impulse. The question that stuck was simpler. What did they tell everyone else? Because silence leaves a vacuum, and someone always rushes in to fill it. It started with a phone call I never expected to get, from my cousin Erica. We'd been close once. Childhood summers, movie marathons, inside jokes that only made sense to us. We hadn't talked in years. And yet, there she was, her name flashing on my phone like a ghost. For a few seconds, didn't even answer. When I finally did, her voice came through, soft, careful, like she was walking across thin ice. I didn't believe it, she said. Didn't believe what? Then came the story. Turns out, Alex and Rachel had been busy rewriting the past. According to them, we'd already broken up before they got together. I was the angry ex-controlling, emotionally distant, the kind of partner who would have left her eventually anyway. He painted himself as the shoulder she cried on, the one who just happened to fall in love with her when no one else cared. A convenient narrative, one that erased the late-night laughter in our home, the playlists we made, the wedding invites, the dress fittings, the baby names we once whispered in bed. And my parents? They didn't just believe it. They were repeating it, to family, to neighbors, to anyone who would listen. She broke things off with him before anything happened. They were rewriting me, turning the pain I lived through into fiction. That hurt more than I expected, because even if they betrayed me, even if they ripped the future away, there was still a tiny part of me, buried deep, that hoped they felt ashamed. But they didn't. They turned me into the villain so they wouldn't have to be. And the worst part? Some people believed them. Erica didn't. She said she remembered the way Rachel looked at me, said she saw how I lit up talking about the wedding, how real it all felt. But not everyone had seen that. Some had only heard the version of the story where I was bitter, jealous, dangerous, even. They're saying you disappeared, that you couldn't handle the truth, as if what they did wasn't deception, as if what I lived wasn't real. After the call, couldn't sit still, walked through the apartment, fists clenched, heart pounding. All the memories, all the good, all the pain, swept aside to make room for their fairy tale. It would have been easier to ignore it, to move on in silence. Let them lie, let them win. But silence is its own kind of surrender. So that night, for the first time in months, posted a message. Sometimes the people who betray you are the same ones who rewrite the story so they don't look like the villains. I may have walked away, but I didn't forget. Within minutes, the replies came in. You can't hide forever. That's when I snapped. There's only so much a person can take. Months of betrayal, gaslighting, silence, and lies had left me raw, like every nerve in my body was exposed. But I kept walking the line, quiet, distant, focused on healing, staying out of sight, out of mind. At least, that's what I told myself. But they didn't stay away. Not my family, not Alex, not even Rachel. It started with voicemails, first from my mom. Her voice trembling, half scolding, half begging. You don't just abandon your family over a mistake. He's still your brother. Then my father's tone, colder, clipped. Time to stop acting like a child. And finally, the one I didn't expect, Rachel. She left a message at 2:13 in the morning. You don't have to say anything. I just need you to know I still think about you. I never wanted it to be this way. The baby's due soon. I thought maybe you'd want to meet her. Her, the baby, the child that should have been mine, in a life that should have been ours. Blocked them all. Again, it didn't matter. They started showing up in person. My mom came to my office building, waited outside, held an old family photo like it was some kind of peace offering. I saw her through the glass, standing by the fountain near the entrance, eyes scanning every person walking out. Turned around, used the back exit, took the long way home. 2 days later, it was Alex. He found me at the gym, the one place I still felt like myself. A punching bag, music blasting in my ears, sweat. Then a hand tapped my shoulder. Turned, saw his face. Smirking. Missed you, bro. Didn't answer. He stepped closer. You don't have to run anymore. I get it. You were hurt. But it's time to stop pretending you're some victim. Every word twisted deeper than the last. You know she still talks about you. Says you were the love of her life. Crazy, right? The gym faded around us. Every sound blurred. Every breath turned heavier. She wants you to be part of the baby's life. Maybe be the cool uncle or whatever. You up for that? Then came the final blow. Let's be real. It would have ended eventually. You were always too serious. Too soft. She needed someone who challenged her. He laughed. I didn't. 1 second I was staring at him. The next, fists flew. Everything blurred into motion. A lifetime of being second best. Of being betrayed by the people who were supposed to protect me. It all came out at once. He fought back. Clumsy. We crashed into a bench. Voices shouted. People pulled us apart. Someone called security. The last thing I saw was his bloody nose and that same smirk, now twisted into something nastier. This isn't over, he said. Didn't care. Walked out before the cops showed. Didn't even grab my bag. Sat in my car, hands shaking, one eye already swelling. The adrenaline faded, and the weight came crashing back. What had I done? Back at the apartment, my phone lit up. Messages. Missed calls. Again. From Rachel. He's bleeding. He might need surgery. How could you? From my father. You crossed a line. You're out of control. From my mother. You're breaking this family apart. For what? For what? For the truth. For the version of me that still believes respect means something. Later that night, a message came from Erica, the same cousin who'd warned me before. They're telling everyone you ambushed him, that you've been unstable for months, that this is just more proof. So that was it. They weren't just hurting me. They were rewriting me again, now as violent, unhinged, dangerous. Rachel even posted something vague online, a black and white photo of her hand on her belly with the caption, "Stress isn't good for either of us. Wish people could just grow up and move on." The likes piled in. Comments like, "You don't deserve this. Protect your peace, mama." Some men just can't let go. None of them knew the truth. None of them wanted to. And at that moment, the realization landed like a hammer. They never would, because the truth didn't serve them. The lie was easier, cleaner. I was now the villain in their story. But at least this villain finally fought back. There's a strange calm that follows a breakdown. Not peace exactly. More like exhaustion so deep, even pain doesn't have the energy to scream anymore. After the fight at the gym, the accusations, the voicemails, the online posts, everything just went quiet inside me. Didn't feel relief, just done. The kind of done where you stop hoping people will understand, stop needing them to. Where you stop preparing arguments in your head because you already know they won't hear you. The next morning, I sat in front of a blank email for 20 minutes. Eventually, I wrote 3 words. I'm done. Goodbye. Sent it to my parents. No explanation. No breakdown. Just the truth. I didn't block them this time. Didn't have to. Whatever they said after that wouldn't matter anymore. They had chosen their side, and it wasn't mine. After a certain amount of time, Rachel sent a message. Said the baby had been born. A girl. She attached a photo. Tiny hands. Soft eyes. Swaddled in pink. Couldn't even look at it for more than a second. Not because of the child, but because of everything that child now represented. The moment I closed the message, I deleted it. Didn't reply. A week passed. Then 2. Then more. The phone stayed quiet. The apartment stayed still. And for the first time in what felt like forever, nothing came crashing through the door to drag me back in. One night, I made a list. Just a stupid thing on the back of an old receipt. Titled it, "What I Want That Doesn't Involve Them." It included things like sleep that doesn't end in panic, a friendship that doesn't feel like a transaction, laughter that doesn't come with a warning sign, a place that feels like mine, to love someone again without fear. Somewhere near the bottom, in smaller letters, it read, "Closure," or something close enough. Didn't know what that looked like yet. Around that time, I got a call from HR at work. Someone, I didn't ask who, had sent them clips of the fight at the gym. Grainy security footage, probably from a phone. Someone trying to stir more trouble. But HR had my back. They offered to relocate me to another office. Same company, different city. Said they understood if I needed space, a clean break. That night, I said yes. Packed again. Lighter this time. Took only what I needed. No framed photos. No old letters. No reminders. Drove 6 hours straight. Didn't stop once. New apartment. Different skyline. Different air. No one knew my name there. No one knew what had happened. And for the first time in months, I could breathe. The past didn't vanish. Not fully. There were still nights where memories showed up uninvited. Still days when doubt crept in. Still flashes of Alex's smug face, or Rachel's trembling hands, or my mom's voice saying, "You're being dramatic." But they didn't control me anymore. Didn't define me. And every time someone new asked, "Do you have siblings?" the answer was always the same. No, because some people are born into your life, and others, you have to choose to walk away from them, for good. After a year, I got an envelope from Rachel and Alex, together with their families. Request the honor of your presence. Laughed when I saw it. Not a bitter laugh, something colder. The kind that bubbles up when reality gets so absurd. There's nothing else to do but let it out. They wanted me there. After everything, the betrayal, the lies, the silence, the fight, the baby, they thought I'd just show up, play nice, clap politely while they promised forever. What did they expect? That I'd wear a suit and smile in the photos? At first, the invite went straight into the trash, but it didn't stay there long, because something shifted, something deep. No more silence, no more hiding, no more watching them rewrite the past while I played the ghost. They wanted me present? Fine, they'd get me, but not the way they hoped. The plan wasn't revenge. It was exposure. They told their version. Now it was my turn. Over the next 3 weeks, I documented everything. Every text, every photo, every date. Timeline from the moment Rachel and I met to the day she told me she was pregnant with his child. I printed messages, compiled screenshots, wrote it like a story, not bitter, just honest. Title page. What you weren't told. First sentence. I was supposed to be the groom. Until my brother took everything. The layout was clean, professional, no rants, just facts. Each chapter labeled. Their betrayal, step by step. I had it printed, 60 copies. Matte finish. Bound. Simple black covers. One for every guest. I knew where the reception would be. I still had the guest list. Didn't need to sneak around. Just had to wait for the night before. And then the day arrived. When the venue staff was distracted, I walked in through the side door. Lights were low. Chairs arranged. Tables dressed. Slipped a booklet on every seat. Tucked one beneath each plate. One by the guest book. One behind the bar. One next to the wedding cake. Nobody saw me come in. Nobody saw me leave. The next day, I stood outside. Didn't go in. Didn't need to. Just watched. Guests arrived, dressed in pastels and pressed collars. Laughter echoed. Small talk floated through the air. Then, like a wave, the mood shifted. Someone opened a booklet, then another, and another. Pages flipped, eyes widened, chairs scraped against the floor. Rachel's mother clutched her chest. One of Alex's old college friends read aloud, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. They didn't start dating after the breakup, because there never was 1 inch. He was my best man. She was wearing my ring while sleeping with my brother. The air turned heavy. Inside, Rachel appeared, in white, perfect makeup, bouquet trembling slightly in her hands. Until she saw the booklets. Then she stopped. She picked one up, flipped through the first few pages. Her lips parted. A sharp inhale. Alex followed behind, confused, smiling, until he saw her face. Then the guests' faces. Then the books. Someone called his name. He looked up. One guest held a booklet in the air and said, "Is this true?" He stammered. Rachel looked at him, then at the guests, then back at him. The room was falling apart. Someone yelled. Chairs fell. The DJ cut the music. Then came the unexpected. A loud crack echoed through the hall. Alex's best friend, Chris, stood in front of him, hands still raised from the punch he'd just landed square across Alex's jaw. Gasps filled the room as Alex stumbled back, stunned. "You lied to everyone," Chris shouted, voice shaking with fury. "You let me stand next to you all these years like we were brothers. And the whole time you were this piece of garbage?" Alex barely got a word out. Chris turned to the crowd. "You all heard the truth. I don't need to repeat it. But let me make one thing clear. I'm done pretending this guy is someone to celebrate." Then he looked at Rachel, who stood frozen, bouquet dangling by her side. "And you? You're not the victim here. Don't ever look at me like we were friends. You're nothing to me now. Absolutely nothing." He tossed his boutonniere on the ground, turned his back on them both, and walked out. Others followed. The wedding, over before it began. I didn't stay to watch it all burn. Just walked away. Didn't need applause. Didn't need revenge. Just truth. They had rewritten me for too long. Painted me as unstable, jealous, bitter. Now, for once, they were the ones exposed, and I didn't even have to say a word. Guests walked out. Some threw their booklets on the floor. Others clutched them like evidence. The silence from the altar said everything. They were exposed, not just as cheaters, but as manipulators, rewriters of history. After that day, they stopped reaching out. No texts, no voicemails, no more guilt-laced messages begging for closure or forgiveness or understanding. Rachel disappeared from social media. Alex moved cities, from what I heard. My parents? Silent. For the first time in a long time, the air felt still. No one knocking, no one demanding, no one asking me to shrink myself so others could stay comfortable in their lies. I kept to myself for a while, woke up when I wanted, read more, walked more, cooked simple meals, and listened to the kind of music that makes you feel like you're putting your soul back together. Started seeing a therapist again, not because I was broken, but because I was healing, and healing deserves help, too. There were hard nights, dreams that dragged me back into that house, that kitchen, that moment. Days where doubt whispered things like, maybe you overreacted, maybe it wasn't that bad. But then I'd remind myself, it wasn't just about what they did. It was about how easily they tried to erase me afterward. And I didn't want my future built on pretending none of it happened. Eventually, I started writing again, not just about the pain, but about the strength that came after. People started reading, messaging, sharing their own stories. Turns out, betrayal doesn't just break people, it connects them, too, the way survival always does. Months passed. One morning, I woke up to a sunrise through the window of a place I now called home. No memories to outrun, no ghosts to battle, just soft light and quiet peace. I brewed coffee, sat on the balcony, looked out at a city that didn't know my name or my past or what I'd been through. And I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Freedom, not the kind that comes from escape, the kind that comes from choosing yourself after everyone else chose against you. Would I ever trust like that again? Maybe, maybe not. But love, real love, doesn't begin with trust. It begins with respect, and that starts with how you treat yourself. So no, I didn't ruin them. They did that themselves. All I did was tell the truth. And then I walked away. Not broken, not bitter, just free.